Hey, what's going on, guys? So this is going to be kind of a different perspective on I guess black pill. It's not really black pill. It's just a different perspective on stuff that I usually talk about. So I read a book called Mastery by Robert Greene. In the beginning, he talks about you have two goals in life. Your two main missions in life, where like you'll feel fulfilled. Uh, you know, in direct proportion to which you fulfill these tasks. So one of the major tasks is mastery at a craft. So getting well. Actually, I'll go. The first one was actually finding your life's task, right? Your and that he defines it as. He explains how every human being has unique DNA. It will never be replicated again. You are completely unique, and the things you could offer to this world, only you can offer them. Only you. No one else will be able to offer the value you can offer. For instance, there will never be another Mozart. There will never be another Leonardo da Vinci. They were those are what he would refer to as masters. In the book, he calls these people masters. People who have built upon their uniqueness and reached their potential and their abilities in whatever field they were in. So, Mozart, if you look at his history as a musician, he had a really so he loved music, right? That's the one thing. He had an inner force, an inner calling towards music. He loved music. Finding what you love is probably the best way to find your life's tasks. So, or you could find what you hate and go away from what you hate and go towards what you love. And that's what Mozart did. So he had a love for music. He wouldn't be able to leave the piano. His dad would try to take him away. He would stay by the piano. And as he continued to as a child, his father was actually a music teacher. So he pushed him really hard to work on music and get really good. So he developed an incredible amount of skill as a kid. So he became so good and so prodigious that he traveled throughout Europe performing. And so he went through he found his life's task, which is music. He found what he really loved, his inclinations. Inclinations are things that you're drawn to for inexplicable reasons. You're just naturally drawn to them. For me, it was ants. I was always attracted to ants. I would sit and I would fill a pot with dirt, and I'd put ants in it. And as a kid, I'd just watch, and then I'd make like entire fortresses where I'd put like several bottles. I would fill bottles with sand and put ants in them. I'd see them make their nests, and I'd see I would have them I would give them areas where they could escape from and go out. So I liked making little worlds, I guess you could say. That was kind of my inclination. Then I also liked the game Sims. I really liked Red Alert 2. That's a strategy, Command and Conquer Red Alert 2. It's you build your own kind of fortress. I love doing that. And I would make it very organized, and I'd align it really well. So that's my inclination. Those are the type of things I like. In artistic things, it's kind of what I'm at. I also like philosophy because of the big picture thinking. So I'm the type of guy who kind of I'm not so much a performer where I'm sitting there doing a dance, twirling in the air and all that crap. I'm not the guy who's on a stage, dancing front and stage. No, I'm more the guy who's in the back planning everything and being the architect of things. That's more the way my psychology is. So, that's my inclination. If you tell me to go and do a dance move, maybe sometimes I could do it, but I'm not the best at that type of task. There's people much better performers than me. I'm more of an architect, so I'm more of a person who creates, right? So Robert Greene had this. He basically talked about how there's this finding your life's task, which is your natural inclinations, things that you're drawn to, that you're naturally kind of good at, and that you love, and that you're curious about. And that you're continually curious about. It fills you with wonder, right? And then there's also the next step. Once you find that, then you have to master particular skills related to that field. So, for instance, if you want to be a great actor, you got to master the field of acting. But you also have to understand things around acting. For instance, you got to understand about health. You got to understand about psychology. You got to understand human nature. You have to delve into some other arts and maybe see other movies. You have to communicate with a lot of people. You have to understand a lot of things to be a really good actor. You have to understand body language, voice tone, all these things surrounding it. So, but that's in order to attain mastery in that specific craft. So, and I tell you, I am a guy who has had women. I've also had something that I'm really passionate about. I can't explain what I'm passionate about, but there's also, I'll give you a story. Leonardo da Vinci had the same thing. He talks about Leonardo da Vinci in the book as well. He says, Leonardo was amazing because he was the type of person who mastered several different fields. He was a scientist, artist, poet, philosopher, all these different things. He had so many different artistic crafts that he was involved with, so many different scientific things he was doing. He had all these different things, all these different skills. And the thing is that he would attain mastery in specific realms, and then he would combine them. So, for instance, when he was doing, when he was trying to, he was hired by the I forget the name of the family. There's a family in Italy that hired him to make a painting of some sort of angel, I think it was, and to make the bird's feathers. To make the angel's feathers, he actually took a bird, and he actually copied exactly the feathers of a bird. He tried to make it mimic the bird really well. So he combined a sort of scientific way along with an artistic way. So Robert Greene in the book Mastery talks about how there was a great divide after the Renaissance period between art and science. And in the past, they were woven together in different crafts. So they were mixed together in the past. And I could definitely see that. I'm in a particular city right now that is big, luxury, pricey, expensive, but there's no aesthetic. No aesthetic. There's big and intimidating buildings, but there's nothing beautiful here. That's why I don't like New York as much as places like Paris. You go to Paris and the city is built by architects. It's aesthetic. You know what I mean? It's like, but when you go to New York, it's just a big city with big buildings. It's like a guy who doesn't know how to dress with style, who's just wearing the most expensive clothes he can to look big, and he's wearing overbearing cologne on top of that smells, that reeks to high heaven. That's kind of like New York, in my opinion. Paris is the opposite. Paris is like a beautiful woman who takes care of her dress and has a great artistic taste in what she wears and how she speaks and how she, does things. That's Paris. New York City is a arrogant businessman. Think Grant Cardone. That's New York City. Paris is a beautiful woman who has, if we were to compare them to people, right? Paris would be a beautiful woman with great aesthetic fashion sense. New York would be Grant Cardone. That's what I'd call it. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I just realize how important and how fulfilling it is to have something that you are super passionate about. Like, I'm in a particular field where I'm not particularly. It's not like you go into it and say, "Oh, I want to be my mindset isn't I want to be the best. I want to be this and that." No, it's different. My mindset is more like I want to fulfill my potential and I want to give to the world what I have in me. But I really want to do something great in what I'm doing. It's a intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic. So when you have intrinsic motivation, listen to it. When you have something that's compelling you to do something really well, listen to that. Follow that. Even if it sounds outlandish, your best work comes from there. That inner drive to want to do a great job at something just because you want to. You can't really understand why, or, it's not because, my career is going to depend on this and that. No, it's because you have this inner calling towards doing it. It's kind of complex, but, it relates to the fact that, humans are social animals. We've been evolving socially for millions of years. A lot of the times these deep, inexplicable feelings, we can't really explain for ourselves. Sometimes they're related to more than just ourselves. Sometimes they're related to the cohesion of the group. So, or the connections to the group have an effect on these feelings we have. So if you have a particular feeling towards something, I think it's something you don't understand that's calling you towards it. So I always thought it's important to listen to your heart. It's very important to listen to your intuition and your heart. They could explain things to you that you can't rationally figure out right away. But anyways, so what I think is really important, what I think is one of the greatest things to have in life is something you're really passionate about. Man, I tell you, I'm passionate about specific things, and when I'm involved with those things, man, women are not, I don't even think of, women are not even anything compared to the greatness and the beauty you could experience in these deep experiences and, creativity and bringing value to the world in some way and reaching your potential. Having sex with a girl is a very shallow pleasure in comparison. I tell you, I've had both, right? I'm an older guy. I've experienced both. And now as I get older, I'm a lot more intrinsically motivated, a lot more passionate about what I'm doing. I figured out my finances, right? That was the one thing. In the past, I would do a lot of things because I'm trying to get paid and try to make a living. But now I figured out my finances. Once that stuff is settled, I opened an e-commerce business, right? So once that thing is settled, now that I finished my e-commerce business, I'm getting an income from it. I don't really have to worry about finances right now as much. I live, in a pretty humble way. I don't pay for expensive things. I'm pretty, I don't pay for much. But I have time to focus on my craft. It's like some guys will go out and be like, if they have time, they'll go and run after women. And I'm going to be honest, on weekends, that's usually what I do. I meet women or I set up dates, whatever. But on weekdays, I'm pretty much entirely focused on, I have two goals. Mastering everything related to my field, being freaking amazing at everything and really, really good at my field. And on top of that, letting my uniqueness shine through what I do. That's another thing to keep in mind. You got to keep in mind some of the most important people were weird. They were weird people that didn't fit into society. I mean, Napoleon, Isaac Newton died of version. People thought he was very weird, and he was weird. But he did so. I think he lived a very fulfilling life. He made huge steps for mankind in understanding science and physics. But past that, you got to keep in mind, you're unique. You as an individual are unique. Your DNA, your uniqueness will never be repeated again in history. You're a one-time phenomenon in the universe. You are a extremely very rare chance to be here, competing with millions upon millions of sperm cells over millions of generations of, human nature and sexual selection. Somehow you are here today, and you are unique, and no one can provide or do things the way you specifically can. You see? That's the idea of the book about the life's task and mastery. It talks about you are unique. Your DNA will never be repeated. Therefore, here's the big thing. If you are unique and you are a one-time phenomenon, in my opinion, I think you should flourish that. I don't think you should run away from that and try to become more like society. I think you should flourish your uniqueness. I think you should bring your uniqueness to its potential. Some people who I could think of who brought their uniqueness to their potential. Let's see. I mean, even when it comes to athletics, Georges St-Pierre. Look at the mixed martial arts. If you read about him and the way he did things, extremely innovative, extremely creative. He did things his own way. He's the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, in my opinion. And then we have people like, if we're talking about music, Jacob Collier. He even said, look up Jacob Collier, the musician. He's a very weird guy. Look at the way he dresses, the way he acts, the way he does things. He's not thinking to himself, okay, if I dress, this way, girls will like me. I'll wear a fitted shirt today, like Wheat Waffles says. He's like, oh, I'll wear a fitted shirt today, and I'll wear some lifts. Jacob Collier is not thinking that, man. Jacob Collier is, the way he picks clothing is he probably wakes up and he goes, I feel like wearing this today, or this kind of looks interesting. I'll wear this. And he doesn't give a two shits about what women think of it at all. He doesn't think about what anyone thinks of it. He just wears what he wants. And he acts the way he acts. He thinks the way he thinks. He's not contained by the mediocrity of our current society. The mediocrity of our current society. The status quo is mediocre as hell, guys. It's mediocre. It's an embarrassment to be the status quo. That's a shame. The status quo is unhealthy, stupid, characterless. Well, maybe some people have character, but there's people with character. But the status quo is mediocre as hell. People who gave up on their dreams a long time ago. People who have no ambitions. People who don't want to do anything in life. People who have, it's just the status quo is a depressing thing. I think the greatest inspiration, honestly, comes from life's task and mastery. I think the greatest success comes from life's task and mastery. When I look at these great actors, performers, musicians, painters, whatever, when I look at these people, it's amazing because I notice one commonality. The great ones, the great creators, they don't do things for success most of the time. They're not so interested in success. They're interested in mastery, doing something really well, and they're focused on, and naturally, they don't really realize it, but their life's task is also being accomplished because they're doing things their own way. But the biggest thing, I think, is listening to your heart. That is kind of your compass. Your heart is your compass, your intuition. When you love something, go towards it. When you hate something, stay away from it. But use your heart as a compass and keep going towards mastery in the field that you like and that you're interested in. Go for mastery in that field. And you keep going there and you do those two things. You let your own uniqueness come out. You follow your heart and you don't listen to what anyone else is saying when it comes to what you're doing. And you go towards mastery at the same time, success will follow you. The reason is because you will provide unique value that no one else really can. No one else will be able to provide the unique value you can, because and then you're also a master at the field, so you can use that unique. You could bring value. The mastery in something is like the ability to bring value in a way through it, or the way to it's. I'm sorry, I got kind of confused here. I confused myself. But what I'm saying is mastery with... hold on. Oh, sorry. Okay, man, I'm not in a good mental state. I'm a bit confused. All right, but what I'm saying is, guys, mastery in life's task is the way to success in life, in my opinion. And from Robert Greene's opinion, too, and I totally agree with him. I've seen it. I see it play out around me. There's these self-help books. This is a thing that's staggering to me. I see all these self-help books. I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and I read that book, and then I go outside and I go meet. I'm in New York and I meet actors, I meet dancers, and all this stuff. And I notice the best ones, they never think like that. They never think about, I'm going to be rich and famous one day, and I'm going to be this and that. They don't think that at all. The great ones are always like, they're focused on the craft. They're focused on doing a great job. They're focused on the process of doing it. They're more fascinated and interested in doing the craft and doing it well and doing a good job than they are in the riches and things that come as a result of it. They're more interested in the craft than anything else. So that's what you want to find in life. You want to find a craft that is so, you want to do something that you're so compelled by, that's so compelling to you, that the outside, reward doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. And you'll be doing it, whether you want to find something that has an inner calling to you, something that you feel like you must do, even if it looks ridiculous at first. Because if you're interested and you're focused on it, you're going to learn it faster. You're going to be motivated by it. You're going to immerse yourself into it. You're going to get very good at it. And those skills will even if it's not something directly that's going to bring you success, those skills that you attain from doing that one thing and mastering that thing will carry over to other other things, other goals you're trying to accomplish. So, yeah, guys, I would say, our world is hyper focused on, success. Like men are hyper focused in the Black Book community, obviously, they're hyper focused on succeeding with women. And I think a lot of you guys should maybe take a step back from that and focus less on succeeding with women and more on mastering a craft, achieving your life's task. And all you have to do when it comes to women, let me tell you guys, that is the most attractive guy to women anyways. That is the guy who's very good at what he's doing, very focused, very inspired, and enlightened. That is an attractive man to women. So what I would say is, all you have to do other than that is, obviously, you're right, it's mostly just about your looks and your genetics. So just improve your genetics and your health and all that stuff, and appear nice and dress decently. And then other than that, just focus on your craft, man. Focus on that thing that you feel like you are meant on this earth to do. For some people, that is, being a dentist. For some people, that is climbing Mount Everest. For other people, that's being an athlete. For some people, it's being an actor. For some people, it's being a musician. For some people, it's being a philosopher or a scientist. Figure out what that thing is. The book Mastery has a good explanation of how to find that thing. So it's one of my favorite books. I'm actually going to read it again. The reason I'm talking about it, I read that book a long time ago, but just recently, I have been experiencing the mastery thing without reading the book. I just found something I'm really passionate about. I'm just really focused on it, and I'm pretty much sitting there, and I'm looking at people who are like very good at that craft that I'm talking about. They're very good at it, and I'm looking at, and at first I was kind of envious, and then I'm like, I got to learn from this person. I'm like, yeah, there's like a 15-year-old who's really good at this craft, and I'm like, I got to learn this thing because I feel like I'm meant to do this. So that's the feeling I got. And that's, I'm right when I hang up this voice recorder, I'm going to go right back to work. I'm going to go right back to my, I feel like my calling, my vocation, the thing that I'm really excited about doing and excited about becoming really good at. And I think it's also a way of, I know deep down it's like you could bring value through the world with mastery and life's task and, expressing your uniqueness. You can bring value to the world with it. And I think, I want to improve the world that way too. I want to improve the world by bringing my unique value into it. Anyways, guys, you should read that book. I'm going to go and get back to work. All right, later.